So you're ready to get your venture going. You have an idea for a product that gets babies to stop crying in under 2 minutes guaranteed. It's a sure winner, and you're ready to go to market. But you may need money, and you definitely need help. What are your choices to move to the next phase? There are literally dozens of options that you have, but they all fall under 3 distinct umbrellas: equity, debt, and hybrids. Let's first talk about equity. The simple translation for equity is ownership. So you're basically giving up a piece of ownership in the business for cash or something else that someone else is going to give you. Let's keep this simple with some examples. Number 1, your uncle gives you $10,000 and he gets a 10% ownership stake in the business. Number 2, your neighbor gets a 5% ownership stake in the business and agrees to produce your product for a discount. Number 3, your friend gets an 8% ownership stake in the business and agrees to help with the legal work to get your product patented without getting paid. And number 4, another friend gets 12% of the business and agrees to work for you for much less pay than what she's earning at her current job. Notice in each of the above examples, you're giving up part of your business and your business is getting something back that it needs to move ahead, and not necessarily money. Also notice that this is a small private company. And in addition, notice that each time you give up a piece of ownership, there is less to give to others later. So be aware of the slices you're providing. They'll add up. With these 4 examples, we've already traded 35% of our business away. Finally, observe that each time you trade a piece of ownership, you're implying a value for your company. So your uncle, who gets 10% ownership for a $10,000 investment, implies that your company is now worth $100,000. The next question we have to ask is, what do these 4 individuals, the uncle, the neighbor, and the 2 friends, expect in return? These owners expect a rate of return on their investment. This return can come in 3 forms. 1, they may want to cash out. That is, reduce their ownership and get cash in return. This is basically the reverse of the 4 examples above, where you provide them with something and their ownership stake gets reduced. So the uncle who provided you with $10,000 will be hoping for something much greater than $10,000 returned to him later. For a new startup, this might be several years down the line or more. The neighbor and friends are also going to want to cash out at some point as well. Cashing out will change the ownership proportions of the business, of course. Second, if and when the business starts making money and the money gets distributed to these owners, they will want their fair share. These are called dividends. So say 3 years from now, the business has positive cash earnings of $60,000 and you want to take some money out of the business. A fair distribution of the $60,000 would be as follows. The uncle's a 10% owner, so should get paid a dividend of $6,000. In other words, 10% of the $60,000 total. The neighbor is a 5% owner and should get paid only $3,000. The first friend who owns 8% should get $4,800, and the second friend who owns 12% should get $7,200. You, on the other hand, own the remaining 65% of the business, so you get a whopping dividend payment of $39,000. Note that paying out dividends does not change the ownership proportion of the business. Third, the owners may want a say in how the business is run, and this arrangement is built into the swap you made with them. The uncle may be just a straightforward investor who's interested in dividends and cashing out later. The neighbor may also just be interested in the same and possibly locking in a good customer for his production facility for the long term. But the 2 friends are providing you with knowledge, and they will likely become an important part of your inner circle. In addition to providing them with their respective ownership proportions of 8% and 12%, they may also seek to be on various boards and formal groups set up to advise the company and vote on important strategic choices over time. So now let's fast forward 10 years. Your product is successful, and you want to use your well-refined and market-tested technology to help with toddlers, teenagers, and unhappy employees. And your original investors, uncle, neighbor, friends, are ready to cash out. So you need to figure out a way to buy them out of their ownership. If you have sufficient cash yourself, you can go back to owning the entire business. Or you can find other investors who are willing to buy their collective 35% ownership stake. Finally, you can take the company public, which means that you allow total and complete strangers to own pieces of your business. Each of these paths will have definitive benefits and drawbacks. To sum up, this method of financing involves giving up some ownership in your business in exchange for resources, cash, discounts, labor, or advice. On the negative side, you're giving up a part of your business. On the plus side, these owners know that they will have to be patient, and frankly, they may never get their money back.